That was more like it. That was more like it, Slot. I am probably going to get kicked back when I talk about the formation. By the way, if you haven't liked the video already, get yourself subscribing, get the video hyped up as well if you've got any hypes left. It was 4-3-3. Sometimes it was 4-3-1-2. For me, McAllister sometimes in the front three, sometimes Szoboszlai in the front three, sometimes Joe Gomez in the front three, depending upon the phase. And you know me, I'm not someone that cares too much about the shape. It's more what you do in it. But what I saw from Liverpool tonight, they were far more compact. They were much harder to break down. It made the game a little boring from a neutral point of view, but Liverpool's job isn't to entertain neutrals. It's not even really to entertain Liverpool fans. It's to win football matches. That's the entertainment is the ride, the journey, the ups and downs of the season, the amazing feeling when you win. It's not just about entertaining you in that game. Not every match is about that. And I thought Liverpool set things up perfectly tonight. Absolutely perfectly on every single level. I loved how they did that. Now, they got a little unlucky, in my opinion, because the handball rules become a joke. Van Dijk heads the ball. It hits Ekitike's arm that's in a natural position, which sends the ball into the path of Konate, who scores. Now, I understand why people will say it's not volleyball. You can't use your hand like that. But accidental handball should never be punished. The only time it should be punished is if it directly hits your hand and goes in because you can't score with that part of your body. But I even think if you're closing down a defender and your hands and arms in a natural position, they blast the ball clear and it hits your arm, falls at your feet and you tap it in, it should be a goal. Because you haven't... Handball used to be ball to hand. Hand to ball. Ball to hand was never handball when I grew up. Between FIFA, UEFA, the Premier League, the FA, they have made handball such a complex decision. It never used to be. And I think it may have been disallowed by the letter of the law, although I have read that the law states if it hits a legal part of a player's body first, like a shot, a pass, a header, then accidentally hits a arm in a natural position, it shouldn't be handball. So I don't even know how they've come to that decision. So they should have gone 1-0 up. Outside of that, Liverpool were the best team. Last maybe 20 minutes of the first half, Inter put a lot of pressure on, but they could barely break Liverpool down. There was one chance and one opportunity in that first half. A good cross, and Lautaro Martinez absolutely loses Alisson, gets his head to a ball, and it's an excellent save by the Liverpool number one. And then the second half was very reminiscent of the first 25 minutes of the first. Liverpool were the better team. I don't really care what anybody's got to say. They were the better team. Inter, their team lacked quality tonight. They really, really lacked quality. Very little pace in their team. They couldn't really create any momentum. They weren't creating goal-scoring opportunities. And when you consider that Liverpool have been on such a bad run, Liverpool have had such horrible games, conceded so many goals, I thought they would have a little bit more of the bit between their teeth. But only 4 shots in the entire second half, none on target. Only 0.22 XG. Liverpool dominated them. Now, as I say, it wasn't a game they win 3 or 4-0. It wasn't a match that is going to live long in the memory of Liverpool fans in terms of being a spectacle. But it was a defensive masterclass from Slot. It was a defensive masterclass. He kept these players close together. It was hard to break their lines. They nullified everything that Inter did, and they were the bigger threat. Now, they weren't great in an attacking sense, and what Daniel said earlier, I put his comment back up, is so true. Liverpool have got to find a way of being hard to beat and then work more on the attacking element of their game. I didn't think their attackers were particularly great today. I didn't think there was much creativity from the midfield. I thought Ekitike and Alexander Isak could have done a lot more. I was, though, quite impressed with Kai Wirtz when he comes on. I think he said Kai. Florian Wirtz when he came on. I felt he gave a great amount of movement. And then the penalty situation. And a lot of people are saying that it wasn't a penalty. It was. He does go down theatrically, and sometimes that can cost you. But Bastoni was holding on to his shirt. It wasn't fleeting. And I know that's a Premier League rule, fleeting. But he had hold of his shirt, and he held on to it, and he held on to it, and then he let it go. it stops Wirtz getting to the ball. Now, Wirtz just is a bad diver. That doesn't mean he wasn't fouled. I absolutely think it was the correct decision. He's holding on to him, wouldn't let him run. Anywhere else on the pitch is a foul. I'm glad VAR gave it because I want to see the law of the game implemented correctly. You could make an argument maybe Wirtz should have got a yellow card for simulation as well. Great, fine. But he was fouled. It's as simple and it's as straightforward as that. He had his shirt. If it had been like this, right? I'll pull my own shirt. If he did this and let go, no. Holding on to his shirt, I'd be a hypocrite. Earlier on this season, Man United got a penalty against Burnley. It wasn't in the same area of the pitch, but the pull was for as long. I would be a hypocrite to now sit here and just try and shit on Liverpool because they're a rival of mine. And I'm not going to do that. It was a penalty. Szoboszlai put it away brilliantly. And Liverpool deserved to win. That's it. Liverpool deserved to win. Defensive masterclass, really hard to break down. And I like the system change up. And I think it was really important tonight for Liverpool to get a victory like that. With the situation with Mo Salah, they really had to win. They've made a big call. The greatest player in their Premier League history, their greatest legend in the Premier League history, their most famous, their most decorated, their best player that's ever played for Liverpool in the Premier League is ousted for him being stupid, for him being unprofessional, and rightfully so. He was dropped from that squad. The board have made the right choice. Slot has made the right choice. But what you needed was Liverpool now to go and have a good performance away and win at a very hard place to win. Beating Inter Milan at the San Siro in the Champions League is a very difficult task. Liverpool had everything sort of against them, the backdrop of all these problems, and they delivered tonight. And I feel that every Liverpool fan should be immensely proud of the players on the pitch. They should be very happy with Slot's approach tonight. Doesn't mean you have to change your mind about Slot. It doesn't mean you have to say, I was wrong for calling for him to be sacked. It's not about having those conversations. We can just do a match reaction. We can just do a fan highlight show and speak about a particular game and keep it within those four walls. And that's what I'm doing. And I thought tonight, Liverpool were excellent. From a defensive standpoint, from a difficulty to break down, and going to one of the hardest places in the world to play football, and they won. And in all truth, they made Inter look average. Absolutely average. Absolutely average. Now, of course, beyond the game, it's about taking this back to the Premier League. Maybe they've found something here, a way of playing and a shape that they're going to spend a bit more time on. What I will say to Slot is I remember you doing very well against Frankfurt, very well against Real Madrid by making changes and then going back to the old way of playing in the next game and getting slapped. That's what he shouldn't do now. You found something that made you hard to beat, hard to break down, kept your lines close together. Stick to it. But overall, I think he deserves a lot of credit tonight. A lot of credit for what Liverpool did. As ever, though, look, I want your views. I want your opinions on that in the comment section below. Please make sure you're liking as well. But Liverpool with a big win.